Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and our year to shine. You have reached me on my special February envelope day. This is Carolyn's R&R day. I hope that the idea encouraged you to also have an R&R day sometime this month. And I'm feeling so relaxed already. And I thought it was appropriate. We are talking about Christine Arylo's book, Madly in Love with Me. I thought it was appropriate to skip to the branch of the self-love tree about self-pleasure, because that's what my R&R day is all about. I feel like, I think I've said this to you before, that I'm fairly good at coming up with ways to bring fun in and setting aside a time for time off and refreshment and stuff. But there's more to this one, to this self-pleasure, which I would really call it more self-fulfillment, like the self-fulfillment branch. Uh, there's more to this one than you think, because when I took my self-care or my self-love pulse on it, I realized that maybe I'm not doing it fully in terms of her definition. So her definition of self-pleasure is choosing to consistently create, receive, and experience joy, ensuring that your soul is fully fed and nourished. Okay. But listen to these self-love pulse check questions and see if you would say yes or no, or I always do it, or I never do it. I feel happy more than unhappy. Even in moments of high stress or unhappiness, I can return to joy quickly. I have a healthy balance of work and play. Even when I work hard, I don't go a day without doing something fun or pleasurable. I feel joy-filled and fulfilled. I am fulfilled on all levels, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. I savor life. I often to smell the roses and enjoy life, no matter how busy I am. I know when I need more play and pleasure, and I don't feel guilty about doing what I need to get done. Just like I get medicine to tend a cold, I get my pleasure medicine to tend my soul. And then there's also, I feel unhappy, and I don't know why. I wake up unhappy or find myself going for days without smiling or laughing. I play or give myself pleasure only after I have worked hard or finished my to-do list. I give myself permission to play and have pleasure only if I feel like I've earned it. I try to get pleasure in quick spurts or by binging on it. I wait until I'm starving for fun and joy, and then I overindulge, eating, drinking, spending, or sleeping too much. I don't remember what I actually like to do for fun and pleasure because it's been so long. I can't name more than a few things that I like to do for the sake of pure joy. I'm too busy to enjoy the small pleasures. I'm so consumed by my to-do list or working life that I don't take the time to slow down and do things like notice beauty, connect with nature, spend a day in bed reading a non-work book, or savor my food. Yeah. So when I took my pulse, I was like, I don't think my pulse is as good as I thought. I mean, yes, I set aside the time and I do things for myself, but some of those questions were pretty to the core, don't you think? What were you thinking as you were going through them? Were you thinking like, yikes, my self-pleasure score for this self-love pulse is not so great? So it's not only about making the time, but it's also making sure that you're doing something every day. And I definitely can't say I'm doing something every day. I mean, I did tell you about my little list of simple pleasures, like just having my kombucha drink or something as small as that, or having soft slippers or a nice bathrobe or things like that, or sitting at my chair, to eat my dinner. So those are small little things, but am I making sure that I'm doing something like that every single day? Even if it's something little like that? Possibly not, because just like some of those lack statements near the bottom, it's like you can get so consumed with work. And I can understand that statement of feeling like you have to earn your time off and earn the pleasure. And you guys can't see it, but I have a sign in my house here that says, work like a captain, play like a pirate. And it is to remind myself to have fun and sprinkle in magic and mischief. So today I am all about the self pleasure. I have all kinds of lotions and hair things, and I'm gonna do a luxurious bath, and yeah, so I hope you're doing something like that at home for yourself. So let's see what she says. Make sure that you remember daily to fill up your soul. Remember we talked about the love tank? Because if you don't, your soul will shrivel and starve. Pleasure shall be the one of your top priorities while you live on planet Earth. What do you think about that? I think this can be a hard one, because I think that there are probably so many messages. Like if we did that blueprint exercise with the 4 squares and asked, like, what is the family and religion and social and like media sort of viewpoints on giving yourself joy throughout the day and often, I think there would be a lot of that, like, all play and no work is not good, although they did say all work and no play is not good either, but I don't know that it's really fostered. So it's happy medicine, like she said. It's a prescription for pleasure, and there isn't anything wrong with it. I'm going to get pleasure for myself. It feels almost shameful, as if you should definitely feel guilty or keep it to yourself. Try saying the words out loud. It's weird, right? You can thank the self-sacrifice handbook, which taught us to feel guilty for putting our happiness first or doing nice things for ourselves, and the self-esteem handbook for teaching us to pursue happiness rather than creating joy. And I was going to say, I just heard recently that pleasure comes from external things, but joy comes from within. And I really had to think about that. I guess it makes sense. Yeah. So she wants us to write a new chapter and a new meaning about these things. Saying statements like, I take a stand for making my happiness and my quality of life a top priority. I choose to create pleasure every day for myself. I make sure I experience joy every day, regardless of what there is to do or take care of. And she mentions kids. Kids are all about pleasure. Like, I know when my nieces and nephew were young that it was always like, what are we doing next? They always wanted to have like the next thing to look forward to. And that's why I did this envelope thing this year, because I also felt like, I know I'm a grown woman, but I needed some things to look forward to, because, in that list there with the lack statements, when my depression's been really bad, I can't think of things that I like to do. And especially with COVID, I mentioned a lot of my hobbies are with other people or getting out and having a social life. It's hard to come up with what do you like to do at home by yourself with your cat, So I understand that it's hard. So having the envelope project and the channel and some other things that I'm doing definitely help. But kids are all about pleasure. I don't even know what they're doing right now. They must be having a hard time as well. Your soul is counting on you to love pleasure so much that you will do whatever it takes to make sure that your pleasure center stays full. No guilt, no excuses, and no exceptions. Just as you feed yourself food and keep your body full of energy, you must find pleasure even in your busiest days. When your pleasure center is full and it has food to feed your self-love tree, and that's good. When it's depleted or bankrupt, you suffer and you feel less loved and cared for. Yeah. And she mentions the immune system. It can definitely get run down. So I really like the story that she tells here. It's called I'm Taking My Happy Back. And she talks about her own life and how she realized that she thought she was really living a happy life. And she was shocked when she realized that her soul was like screaming. Her soul was empty. So here she was doing, going to work. Like, I mean, she was doing things that she thought were fulfilling, but at a soul level, she was just dead inside when she really thought of it. And she was shocked. You know, she said when she really sat down with herself, she heard the statement, your soul is starving. You've been so busy giving, so busy working, so consumed by being a joy for others that you've forgotten to experience joy for yourself. So she sat down with her daughter, was 7 years old at the time, and they got this big piece of paper, and she challenged herself, and her daughter helped her to make this huge poster about all of the things that she loves to do. So that would be kind of like the list that I made in my journal that I always carry over into each year. I have my simple pleasures, and I have what fills my love tank. And so this would be making an art project about it, because it actually is a me art program, or me art project, that she tells us to do later. So it's just taking that time. She said even as small of a thing as, like I mentioned, like having my favorite drink or something like that. Or listening to your favorite music in the car, things like that, things that are going to bring you joy. She gives us a great way to get started with this too, and I liked this. If you're having trouble, you know, like I said, sometimes it can be hard to come up with the things, like even if, like, especially if you're in a negative or depressed state. So these are some questions that you could answer. I am happiest when blank. I feel most alive when blank. I feel most free when. I can't help but smile and laugh when I blank. When I was a little girl, I loved to blank. My soul gets nourished when blank. I feel most cared for when blank. I just love blank. I find great joy in blank. I think it would be great to sit down and to answer those questions. And then the daring act of love is to actually make sure that you're doing those things. In Simple Abundance last year, Sarah Ban Breathnach had us for a certain period of time. I can't remember, but we were supposed to be keeping track. I think it was when we were talking about self-care. We were supposed to be keeping track of doing one thing for ourselves for that whole time period. You know what I totally forgot to say? I donned a crown today to tell you that this queen is taking care of her pleasure today in her queendom. I totally forgot. I dug this out because I thought I have to put on a crown. So you can make a joy portrait and all the things that to remember the things that you like to do that fill up your joy. And also, like in every chapter, we're always talking about like what is blocking us from doing these things. So there's an exercise of really acknowledging what are some of the statements or beliefs that may be blocking you from A, giving yourself the time, B, doing it. I mean, maybe even like blocking you from realizing what the things are that you want to do. So you're supposed to write all those things down, and then you're supposed to rip up the paper. And you're supposed to say, I release these blocks that prevent me from receiving joy. I deserve to have joy and experience pleasure just because I am alive. My soul needs joy and pleasure to survive. Yeah, it really does. And I like, she has a couple of little cards here on this bottom of the page that say, I will smile and laugh today. I love singing aloud. So you could be saying something like from your list of questions that you answered, I love such and such. I always find time to play. Yeah. So then she goes into a big section. I'm not going to give a huge nod to it because we talked about this for almost an entire month last year in our Simple Abundance year. So you could go back and watch all of the videos from last year about the senses. So she encourages us, one of the daring acts of love in this chapter is to try to live for an entire month through the senses. And she goes through each sense and talks about ways that you could bring more joy into your life through that sense. So like I mentioned, the music. So say you love music, then you could start making sure that you're having that music on in the background. Maybe it's your favorite drink at the end of the day, like I mentioned. Maybe it's waking up with a certain show or recording that you like to listen to. Those are also senses and tastes so far that I've said. What about like your sense of touch? You know, maybe you want to have like luxurious fabrics on, and what are the smell? Maybe you want to have lotions, or I have my essential oils going right now. Having essential oils around, or like if you like candles or incense, having nice smells around. So we have, oh, and I just didn't even think of sight. I suppose I did say like you could watch a show that you wanted to see, but maybe it's reveling in the colors that are around you, watching nature. So I think we really discuss the senses a lot, but I can understand how when you become more aware of those, just like what Sarah Ban Breathnach was saying in Simple Abundance, then that's a part of simple abundance. It's a part of those small things in life that are just there that can easily bring you joy. It's just putting some emphasis on it and making it a priority. And it's not difficult. It doesn't have to cost any money whatsoever. It might take time, but that's the only investment. And you're investing in you and your pleasure and your joy, so that's important. And I'll just read, I always try to read the mantra at the end. So this mantra for self-pleasure is, I fill up with joy. I fill up my senses. I feel full of pleasure. I love savoring life. Yeah. It's all about the simple abundance of life. That's still what the basis of this channel is. Joy, harmony, beauty, order, simplicity, and gratitude. I should make gratitude a part of my R&R day too. I'm grateful to have this time. I'm grateful to have a friend who would come up with this nice relaxing day for me. I'm grateful I have a kitty who's into this R&R day too. And I'm grateful that it's not over and that I was able to share a little bit with you and hopefully maybe encourage you to give yourself some time for yourself, if whatever your R&R sort of day would be. And remember, you are the queen of your life, so you deserve it. And you can proclaim that it is your R&R day if you need to, and you probably do. So don't let your soul get depleted, and do it for you. I hope that you're having a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Please leave me a comment if you will. Let me know if you're having an R&R day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.